Hello there, and welcome to what I hope will become your new favourite literary adventure. This is Vices and Volumes, and I'm your host, Avril Clinton Ford. This podcast is built around my collection of old books from the 1700s through to the 1920s. I take fascinating passages, read them to you, and dive headfirst into the wonderful rabbit holes they create. We'll explore the themes, the people involved, sometimes the writers themselves, and always the delightfully complex way the upper classes manage to make the simplest of instructions sound like diplomatic negotiations. Just like this one from our bear recital, A Slip of the Tongue. To relate some instances to the protection we have seen afforded to the indiscreet and unwary by the indulgent, though scarcely logical maxim, a slip of the tongue is no fault of the mind, and each mistake is a misfortune. To remember that there did exist a good old holiday time when proverbs were invented to cover unpremeditated faults, and when, as if by a magic spell, of each heart acknowledged the potency, murmurs were hushed and suspicion cleared away by the utterance of a little sentence. In the coming weeks, we'll cover everything from intricate manufacture of letters in the 1800s to marriage proposal etiquette that would make modern dating apps weep with confusion. We've met banshees in Ireland, followed posh fishermen who lived off air and other people's generosity, and learned hound management techniques that are frankly more insightful than most modern leadership books. Before you dive in, I should mention that I have absolutely no qualifications in English history or anything remotely related to literary training. What I do have is dyslexia, an aggressive browsing habit in vintage bookshops, and a complete fascination with the wonderfully elaborate way the Victorians phrase the simplest things. This whole thing started quite by accident in West Coast Rare Books in Westport, County Mayo. I was innocently reading passages from Practical Yachting in the Grasses of Wiltshire, because apparently that's what passes for entertainment in my world, when 6 American tourists descended upon the shop like literary locusts. One particularly sharp-eyed lady caught me smiling while reading about hunting protocols and asked what was so amusing. After I read the passage out loud, apparently with all the talent of a Shakespearean actor, I suddenly found myself being handed books from all angles and being asked to read what these ladies had found. My ego then had been sufficiently inflated by this impromptu performance. As the Americans began to leave, loaded down with their literary treasures, the same lady turned back to me in the doorway and said, "You should do a podcast on old books." And there it was. With the unfounded confidence that only a man can possess, I decided that I was fully qualified, and this was brilliant advice, and I should definitely do exactly that. What I love about these old books is how they make the English language perform Olympic level gymnastics, just to say something simple. The punctuation alone could power a small village, and the double negatives will have you questioning not just your sanity, but your entire educational background. In the coming episodes, we might explore things like the existential crisis of proper dusting techniques, the complex psychology of servant management, the colourful characters who bicycle through Ireland with nothing but audacity and questionable life choices as their pack, or what exactly one should be doing with one's garden, wardrobe, dining table in any given season. Because apparently Victorians had very strong opinions about seasonal appropriate behaviour. The right thing to do, the right way to behave, and how servants were managed was a constant obsession of these books. Just like this one from Thoughts on Hunting.
There could be no harm in you knowing what your servants ought to do, as it is not impossible, but may be sometimes necessary for you to see that it is done. In your military profession, you are perfectly acquainted with the duty of a common soldier. And though you have no further business with the minutiae of it, with no doubt you still find the knowledge of them useful to you. Believe me, they may be useful here. And you will pardon me, I hope, if you wish to see a martinet in the kennel as well as in the field. Orders given without skill are seldom well obeyed, and where the master is either ignorant or inattentive, the servant will be idle.
Whatever these marvellous old books present to me, I will do my best to bring you it in a way that is both entertaining and enlightening. Whether you're here for history, driven by curiosity, seeking a pleasant diversion, looking for relaxation, or honestly just hoping something will help you fall asleep, I've got you covered. I publish fully researched episodes where I dive deep into the context and characters, and I also offer bare recitals where I simply read the original text and let these beautiful words speak for themselves. I'll do my best with research using whatever resources and experience I have, though I reserve the right to say at any point, the internet told me so, when I inevitably get something spectacularly wrong. So, if you're ready to wander through the different centuries with someone who gets genuinely excited about 200-year-old instructions for proper hat storage, then I think you're going to fit right in here. I'm looking forward to having you join me on these delightful detours through the past, where every page turn is an adventure and every footnote is a potential rabbit hole worth exploring. Welcome aboard and happy listening.